Okay, yeah, you there. Yeah, you just watching this video, you just clicked on it. I know who you are. You got your big bad R1, your leader bike, you're posting up on Instagram about your sick lean angles on the street. Knee down, bro. Got my angles on, bro. Look, I'm gonna tell you something right now. I don't care how fast you think you are on your R1, you go out to your track day, there's gonna be a 12-year-old kid on an RC390 that's bone stock, that's gonna pass you on the outside, or your girlfriend is watching on as it happens. Welcome back to another episode of Yammie Noob. Today I'm going to save you. I'm going to help you. Don't click out of this video. Please listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. You need to ditch your R1, you need to ditch your Gixxer 600, and you need to get yourself a Ninja 400. Yes, a small displacement sport bike. You need to get one of those in order to get yourself those scorching fast lap times that you will one day ascend to on your big bike. It's like they say, the smaller the CC, the bigger the PP. Now look, in all seriousness, today we're going to be talking about why the Ninja 400 should probably be your first track day tool. Now, I've got some decent racing experience and some pretty hefty track day experience. I've probably been to the track over 100 times at this point. I've got a 675R that's prepped for CMRA racing. And earlier this year, I participated in Endurance 400 racing. So I raced a Ninja 400 in CMRA in the ultra lightweight category in endurance racing. That's a 6-hour race that you do with a team. You're passing the bike off back and forth, usually about an hour to an hour and a half or longer on track at a given time. So I've got a fair amount of seat time with the Ninja 400, and I want to tell you why it's a really awesome motorcycle to learn with, to ride, to race, and just everything I know about it, and tell you why it should probably be your first track day weapon. Now, this video is not for the guy or girl who already has a motorcycle and hasn't been to their first track day yet. If you currently own a motorcycle, literally any motorcycle, and it's in good running order, I recommend you go to your first track day and learn the craft and see if you even want to be involved in it. Some people might have an idea of what a track day is going to be like and they get there and it's not really fulfilling up to their expectations. This video is actually for the guy or girl who has already done a few track days and wants to get seriously involved with road racing or track day riding at a serious level and is considering buying a dedicated tool for the job. So with all that in mind, let's take a look at why the Ninja 400 is the best track day weapon in my opinion. Okay, so first up, I recommend the Ninja 400 because small bikes teach you way more than big bikes. You could get yourself a prepped SV650, you could get yourself a prepped R6, or if you are really an insane person, you could buy a race prepped 1000cc motorcycle. But every single experienced racer and track day person that I've ever spoken to has told me that a smaller bike will get you to your goal of being faster on a motorcycle faster. I'm not the only person that thinks this. There's been plenty of articles that come out, and I know it bruises your ego a little bit to think of yourself on a small bike after you've been riding around an R1 on the street and all that. But I promise you, you do not know how to ride a motorcycle at the limit until you've raced and used a small displacement motorcycle on track. If your experience culminates in street riding a 1000cc or a 600cc motorcycle, you simply do not possess the skill set to adequately use those motorcycles at the limit on a racetrack. You just don't. I used to think I did too. I had my 675R on the street and I thought I was big, bad, and fast until I did my first couple of track days and I was one of the slowest of the bunch. Now I'm a mid-pack club racer and I'm awesome. I'm just kidding. Another big reason the Ninja 400 is a great platform for you to start your track day experiences with is they're substantially cheaper to run. Tires are going to last you way longer. It's cheaper when you go down. It's not if, it's when you go down at the racetrack. It's lighter on fuel, and in another way too, they're just easier to load up and handle for a truck or a trailer or anything else. They're just smaller, lighter, and everything's going to be smaller and lighter on them too. Tires are a big consideration when it comes to track day motorcycles. For big bikes, you can expect to get 3 or 4 days of wear out of a rear tire, whereas on a little bike, you could probably do 10 plus days on a rear tire. That's really gonna add up to be a big difference in the long run. The Ninja 400 is currently the most popular motorcycle that is being raced in the ultra lightweight category. If you go out to your local club racing event, at least here in CMRA, you will literally see the grid and the paddock littered with Ninja 400s. There's the occasional R3 and some CBRs and that kind of stuff, but if you want to be competitive, the Ninja 400 is simply the bike to get if you're looking to get into racing one. Given that they are super popular, the next point I want to make is that parts are really easily available. People know a lot about the Ninja 400 and have been tinkering and tweaking with the platform ever since it's come out. So you can get new front suspension for it super easily. People know what front suspension to put onto it, new Penske rear shocks, any kind of rear shock you could want. All these modifications that are essential to make this thing nice and prepped for you as a rider. Everyone's already done the back end grunt work. You're not starting out with some platform that you have to figure out a bunch of stuff with. It's all pretty turnkey. And in fact, some companies will literally sell you all the parts you need to race prep a Ninja 400 from bone stock to actual competition machine, which is pretty amazing. Also, I guarantee you right now, as the season's been wrapping up and people are selling and trading and moving on with their motorcycles, there's probably plenty of formerly owned competition machines, which is what I would recommend if you are looking to get your first track day motorcycle. Pick up a prepped Ninja 400 and you will literally be set to go for at least 2 years on that machine and learn everything you need to learn. The other thing that's great about the Ninja 400 is even if you don't get one that's prepped, they're surprisingly good out of the box. The brakes are really strong on the Ninja 400. The front end suspension is surprisingly stiff for an entry-level sport bike. The engine pulls really solidly all the way to the rev line. It has a really high rev limit too relative to other bikes in the category. Looking at the single cylinder options, it's a really, really awesome motorcycle straight from the factory to ride on the racetrack. The Ninja 400 also comes with a 150 at the rear from the factory as well, which is a plus size over the 140 that a lot of traditional small displacement sport bikes come with. So you're getting that little bit extra edge grip as well with that bike. The ergonomics as well are not super committed like the RC390. The R3 is actually a little committed as well. It's actually a pretty standard riding position, which means you're going to be really comfortable taking it lap after lap after lap. When it comes to track day riding, one thing you might not be thinking of is how much endurance is required to do it. You're going to notice that your quads are going to be roasted after a couple sessions on track, and the Ninja 400's ergonomics are going to be much more amenable and comfortable for you to use and learn with. One thing that people worry about when it comes to little bikes that they probably shouldn't is that big bikes are going to come on the track and completely overpower them. They're going to be left for dust. But street riding and track riding are really different. Yes, if you're on a 400 and all of your buddies are out there doing highway pulls, you're probably going to be left behind. However, when it comes to track day riding, unless you're on a gigantic track like Circuit of the Americas or something like that, most little bikes are very happy to keep up with the big bikes on a racetrack. In fact, there's nothing more satisfying than passing a 1000cc motorcycle when you're on a little bike around the outside. It's only when you start getting up to level 3 and club level and advanced and expert level paces at a racetrack that you're going to start to definitely not be able to run with the bigger bikes on a small bike. But I would say up until your upper level intermediate at your track days, you're going to be just fine on your 400 against literally any other bike. The other point I want to make is the 400 can be easily transitioned into a racing motorcycle. Now, if you guys have seen my video on track day motorcycles versus racing motorcycles, you know there's a big difference in setup and preparation in order to make something from a track day bike to a racing bike. But the 400 can be easily transitioned from a bone stock machine that you learn and understand track days with to a lightly track prepped machine that you use to go on the weekends and have fun and learn the craft, to then you can transition it to a racing machine that you go out and compete with. This motorcycle can literally go from bone stock all the way to race prepped, and your skills can go all the way through it with it as well. There's no need to dump it or trade it or sell it all along the way. This bike can literally guide you all the way to the end, which is kind of nice. You only have to buy one bike and worry about that. The other really cool thing about 400s and ultra lightweight machines is you can learn racecraft really easily. Now, what do I mean by racecraft? Other than going around a racetrack really, really fast, racecraft actually has to do much more with riding with your head than it does with just the actual inputs on the motorcycle. It's about sizing up your opponent that you're trying to ride against, outbraking them a little bit, knowing when you can inside pass, outside pass, block passing, saving a little bit in the tank for when you're going after those final few corners. There's a lot that goes into racing other than just being really fast on a racetrack. And the 400 is going to provide you an ample platform to learn those skills as well if you do decide to transition into racing. So overall, I hope this video has guided you and shown you a little bit why the 400 is an awesome platform for you to get started with track days and racing. Little bikes really will teach you everything you need to know about riding. There's only a few things that change whenever you step up to a bigger machine on track days and racing that you wouldn't find with the little bike. The limit is going to be a whole lot easier to find on a little bike. It's definitely not as scary to ride as a big bike, and it's just going to be a great way to learn those fundamentals like trailing it into corners, sliding it around a little bit, feeling what the brakes do under extremely heavy braking, feeling that front end kind of wiggle underneath you. These are all skills that you can learn on a little bike that you can then transition to a big bike. If you look at all the top level riders today, literally none of them started out learning how to ride on the track on a high powered sport bike. They all started on small little 2-strokes, on 125s, on 250s. And through that, they built up their skills so that they could then take it to the high horsepower machines on a racetrack. I really recommend you don't go out and get an R1 and try to learn how to ride on the racetrack, because you're just gonna be learning so much slower than someone who's starting on a little bike. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Remember, if you like these kinds of conversations, you can always head over to yammie.co and keep them going with me on our Discord server. We recently launched a member meetup feature on there as well, so if you want to get in touch with new riders and find people in your area, it's a great way to do that too. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later. Between this and my desert sled, you might think I'm just some horrible biscotti boy, but really, if you click this video right over here, I will prove to you that I love more motorcycles than just Ducati biscottis. Click it and find out.